Hi everyone, my name is Dar, and this is a quick Collei video. This video will quickly break down Collei's kit and some weapons that I have tested for her. Collei is a new unit who happens to have the new fancy Dendro element. She is free for the duration of patch 3.0, and as such, many people will be using her. After testing and using her almost exclusively since the patch drop on Tuesday night, I can safely say she is an okay unit, and I will explain further why here. Starting off with her auto attacks. Her auto attacks are of nothing of note, outside of the fact that they throw some cute boomerangs and are totally not the focus of her kit, so I won't be speaking much about them. Her elemental skill is a boomerang that she throws. This boomerang does not have an ICD, meaning that it will apply Dendro on every hit. It generates decent energy, has an okay range, and generally hits enemies twice, which is pretty good. However, the downside of this ability is the fact that it locks in a longer than normal animation. She stumbles when she throws it. While this is kind of cute, it also means that she's more open to getting tagged by an enemy attack, because you can't dash cancel as early as most other units. One interesting note with her boomerang is characters with movement abilities such as Yelan, Kazuha, and Ye can actually outrun or outpace the boomerang, and it's kind of fun to run around with a boomerang chasing you because it will on occasion hit the enemies more than twice, though this is not really advised as it is a DPS loss as you're just running around, just running from a boomerang the whole time. Her burst is a small AoE ability that constantly procs Dendro damage. This ability is deceptively bad, however. While it hits quite frequently, it does not actually apply as much Dendro as it appears, as it has a special ICD that makes it only apply Dendro about 2 to 3 times for the entire burst duration. It also suffers from the same targeting issues such as Diana's burst, meaning sometimes she will just throw it a mile in the wrong direction while you're fighting enemies, especially enemies that are mobile. They will move out of it constantly. The energy cost is moderate. It's about 60, meaning that she only needs to focus a little bit on energy recharge, but not a whole lot. Moving on to her talents. Her talent Floral Sidewinder gives her a smaller ring around the active character if her elemental skill triggers a reaction. This ability has a small AoE, so you have to get fairly close in the melee range for it to be of any use. You don't have to think about it a whole lot because if you apply an element before throwing the boomerang, it'll just happen. The main issue with this ability and some of her other abilities is that it scales off of her attack. Her base attack is terribly low, meaning that all these abilities just generally won't do a whole lot of damage. The main appeal of this talent is it applies some passive Dendro somewhat. Her other talent, the Languid Wood, I think that's how you say it, extends the duration of her burst for up to 3 seconds. This is okay. Considering that I mentioned earlier that her burst has a special cooldown, it doesn't really help her a whole lot though, so I have tested her with some different weapons and can safely say that either Elegy or Favonius are her best weapons, solely because they give her the ER that she needs, while also providing value for the rest of the team. You can run Stringless on her, however due to her talents not having very good scaling, I believe Stringless just becomes an EM stat stick at that point. I haven't really tested any artifact sets as I'm still in the middle of farming the new Dendro artifact domain and getting pieces, but based on what the sets do, she is quite flexible on what she can run depending on what team you want for her to support. She can run a General Noblesse set for the 20% for the team. She can run a Dendro Shred set for supporting a character like Tanari's damage. She can even run other support sets, such as the set that gives EM and attack percent depending on how many elements are in the team or what the team is made out of. She can run almost anything just because she's really just there to trigger reactions, and that's kind of it. As of this testing, I was testing with a C1 Collei. I will mention that because it does help her energy issues a little bit, but if you're building her with ER with mind anyways, it's negligible at best. You might have also noticed too that her talents aren't at a high level, and that's sort of intentional. The scaling on her talents are pretty bad, and since reactions are elemental mastery and level based, I believe leveling her and giving her some EM is better than touching her talents. She only really needs 2 stats, 3 if you're running Favonius, and that will be energy recharge up to 160 to 200 depending on what comp you're running her with, and then you really just want to dump everything else into elemental mastery. The only stat that she wants outside of that is crit rate only if you're running Favonius, just to proc it more consistently. So my verdict on her as a character kind of depends on where you are. If you're a new player, I would not advise really building her. I would advise building more integral characters such as like Bennett or Xingqiu and stuff like that than building her. You can use her for puzzles and that at level 1, it doesn't really matter. And you can use her for just base reactions if you want to play around. If you're a veteran player or somebody who's been playing for a while and you want to try Dendro, I would invest up until like level 70 with level 6 talents, but I wouldn't go anything past that because the minute they drop another off-field Dendro applicating just character, they're just gonna directly power creep her. She doesn't really have anything going on, which is a shame. I love the character. I've read the manga, but it's she's just not really all that good. The only thing holding her up right now is the fact that she's Dendro, and you don't really have any other options outside of the Traveler and Tenari, who's just an on-field DPS. The minute they drop more characters, she's going to lose a lot of value. It's kind of like in 1.0 when we only had 3 Hydro characters, so they were really valuable until more Hydro characters came, and then they kind of fell to the wayside, except for Xingqiu. He's an exception. Anyways, I think she's fun, and I will personally be leveling her to level 90. I hope you enjoyed this sort of quick series on her, and if you want more in the future for future characters, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks. Bye.